Hey everybody, JB here, your guest reviewer for CatSynth TV. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Maria Schneider album, Maria Schneider Orchestra album, Data Lords. But before we get started, I want to ask you to please subscribe to this channel for more cultural content coming out regularly, and please consider underwriting our efforts here. There are links to Patreon and Ko-Fi below. Okay, again, we're going to be looking at the Maria Schneider Orchestra album, Data Lords. This is something that came out just a few months back. This is something that really took me by surprise. Now, let me just preface this a little bit by saying I was a little bit familiar with Maria Schneider's work, had heard bits and pieces of it on KCSM, Jazz Radio, over the years, and I knew of her name because of the association with Gil Evans. Anyone who knows me knows that Gil Evans, and especially the later Gil Evans works, which don't get so much attention, are some of my favorite things. So, like I said, I was a little bit aware of her, never owned one of her albums before. The thing that really turned me on to her in a big way, of course, was, and I think many people came on board with Maria Schneider via the collaboration with David Bowie that came out a few years ago. The track that they did together, Sue, or A Season of Crime, I believe that's the title, correct me if I'm wrong, came out on a 12-inch single and later appeared on a Bowie kind of greatest hits compilation kind of thing. Completely, totally knocked me out. Now, of course, this is the version which is a little bit different than the one that ended up on Black Star. This is the version for the extended ensemble for the Maria Schneider Orchestra, for the big band. So this was something that blew me away. Now, for those of you who are turned off when I say big band, again, a lot of people, when they think jazz, big band, they think Basie, Ellington, this kind of thing. It's like, and this is wonderful music, but this is not what Maria Schneider does. Again, the closest point of reference I would say would be, you know, again, going back to Gil Evans and some of the things that he did in the early 70s, such as the album Svengali, is a good analog to what we're hearing here. She takes a larger ensemble of brass and woodwinds and rhythm section and composes contemporary music with it, you know, contemporary composition. It does swing at times, but it's not the heavy kind of blues-based riffing that you think of when you think of like a Basie kind of thing. This is something really wild. Now, this particular album is divided into two halves. As we take a look at the package itself, incredible package. And we can see here that there are two discs, one called The Digital World, and one called Our Natural World. And there's a booklet with a lot of information in there too. The music itself, again, the closest thing I can say is some of the Gil Evans things, but there's, I would say anyone who's familiar with some of Wayne Shorter's writing for larger ensembles, especially on High Life and the orchestral thing, that Emanon that came out a few years ago, there's some kind of, I can hear bits and pieces of that, you know, especially in there's some tonal ambiguity going on there at times that reminds me a lot of the Wayne Shorter compositions, where it's like, you're not really sure where it's going. It's not atonal, it's not Schoenberg influenced really, but you know, you're not really sure where you stand harmonically. And it's a fascinating place to be. The two different discs have a different feel to them somewhat. The Digital World has a little bit more of a kind of a spiky kind of aggressiveness to it. There's some kind of very broad, elegiac moments in it where it really spreads out. The things that I found most fascinating is in a couple tracks, there's a electronically altered trumpet that reminds me a bit of things that the Brecker brothers did at times, or even some of, and I know this is kind of a million miles away as far as melodically is what she's writing, but if you think of the Zappa in New York album, there's the long track on there, The Purple Lagoon, where Randy Brecker takes a long kind of, you know, bionically altered trumpet, as he says in the notes, and it kind of, you know, it gave me a bit of that flavor in it. The other disc, Our Natural World, is much more, just by the title alone, it's much more pastoral sounding. It's not to say that it's, you know, not engaging or even at times challenging listenings, but it's much more, there's much more of a relaxed feel to it. It has a bit of that kind of, one of the things I was saying is some of the low brass voicings all over the entire album remind me a bit of, at times, Holst or even Ralph Vaughan Williams at times, although not quite as, as I don't know. I love that Ralph Vaughan Williams, don't get me wrong, you know what I mean? But it's a bit like that. There's harmonically all over the entire album, there's a lot of very extended chords. Like I said, it's very rich, it's very tonal. The recording is incredible, it's mind-blowing. And the thing that really gets me about this is there's big concepts at play here. It's not just a collection of compositions, not that there's anything wrong with that, but a larger work of this when there's so much music, but there's also a philosophical idea, there's a thread running through it, through the entire thing. And you can see that not only in the extensive notes that are included in the booklet, but the artwork by Aaron Horkey, which is just mind-blowing stuff. And I gotta say, again, for a person who works in the printing industry for my day job, and is a fan of packaging, they went all out on this thing. I mean, it's gold stamped, embossed. It's an incredible paper that is printed on. The packaging is fantastic. Now, the thing about Maria Schneider is, some of you also may be aware that, she is a big fighter for digital rights, for musicians' rights in the digital era. And this album is not on streaming. You're not going to find it on a streaming service. You have to order it directly from Artist Share, the company that she partners with, in order to get this music out. And as she kind of points out when she's talking about digital rights, she has a huge overhead, and you're going to pay a premium price for this disc if you want this music. So let me just put that out ahead of time. But at the same time, you're definitely getting what you're paying for. You're getting some incredibly recorded music, some incredibly performed music, and an amazing package of stuff. So I highly recommend this. Anyone who's interested in contemporary, large ensemble music, this is for you. This is something where, there's been large band, Franz Kogelman comes to mind, some of the things that he did, a lot of the guys working in Europe, CMP Orchestra, all that's more of a free jazz kind of thing. Over in the US, there's, Josh Allen's Deconstruction Orchestra. Again, that's more of a free improvisation kind of thing. But people who are interested in large ensembles of incredible music, this is for you.
To find out more about Maria Schneider Data Lords, please visit artistshare.com and check out the description below this video. Thanks for watching. Check out more at www.catsynth.com, and please subscribe to CatSynth TV.
This is JB, your guest reviewer for CatSynth TV.